I'm standing in my workshop, running sandpaper across the oak arbor I built for my own wedding. The wood gleams under the overhead lights, every joint perfect, every curve exactly where I want it. This is what I do. I create things that last. At 58, I've spent 40 years perfecting my craft as a woodworker. My hands are calloused, my back aches some mornings, but I've never been prouder of anything. Alina walks in. I can tell from her face that something's wrong. She's 60, beautiful in that refined way that always made me feel lucky, but right now her eyes won't meet mine. "Arthur," she says, her voice flat, "I can't do this." I set down the sandpaper, confused. "Can't do what?" She twists the engagement ring off her finger, places it on my workbench. "The wedding, us. It's not you, Arthur. It's the life you can offer." The words hit me like a hammer. 2 days. We're supposed to get married in 2 days. I built this arbor with my own hands. I planned everything around her. "Alina, what are you saying?" But she's already walking toward the door. She doesn't look back. The ring sits there, catching the light, mocking me. I'm alone, surrounded by sawdust and broken dreams. I try calling her phone. It rings once, then goes straight to voicemail. I call again. Same thing. My fingers shake as I type out a text. "Please, can we just talk?" No response. The read receipt doesn't even show up. She's blocked me. After 3 years together, after planning a whole life, she just blocks me. I get in my truck and drive to her house across town. My chest feels tight, like I can't get enough air. Maybe if I see her face to face, she'll explain. Maybe this is just cold feet. Everyone gets nervous before a wedding, right? I pull into her driveway and see Julian's car parked there. Julian, her 35-year-old son who never liked me, who always looked at me like I wasn't good enough for his mother. The lights are on inside. I can see shadows moving behind the curtains. I walk up to the front door and knock. Once, twice, 3 times, nothing. I know they're in there. I can hear voices, low and urgent. "Alina," I call out, "please just talk to me." Silence. The porch light suddenly goes dark. They're pretending I'm not here. The rejection stings worse than her words did. I drive home in the dark, feeling like a fool. The next morning, my phone rings. It's Sandra, the wedding planner. Her voice drips with pity, that awful sympathetic tone people use when they know you're hurting. "Arthur, I'm so sorry to hear about the situation, but I need to know what you want to do about the vendors." I grip the phone tighter. "What do you mean?" she sighs. "The venue, the caterer, the band, the florist, everything's paid in full. And with only 2 days' notice, nothing is refundable." My stomach drops. $75,000, that's what I spent on this wedding. Alina wanted everything perfect, the historic mansion venue, the fancy catering, the 12-piece band. I emptied my savings account. I even took out a small loan. "How much can I get back?" I ask, already knowing the answer. "Nothing, Arthur, I'm sorry. The contracts are clear. Within 48 hours of the event, everything is non-refundable." I hang up and stare at the pile of vendor contracts on my kitchen table. $75,000. Gone. My life savings vanished because Alina couldn't handle the life of a craftsman. I built furniture for senators, museums, private collectors. But it was never enough for her. Never stable enough. Never prestigious enough. I pour myself coffee with shaking hands and try to breathe. I spend the whole day in a fog. I sit in my workshop, staring at the arbor, at the custom chairs I made for the ceremony, at everything I created for a future that no longer exists. My phone buzzes with cancellation confirmations from vendors. Each one feels like a punch. The caterer, the photographer, the DJ, all confirming they've been notified, all keeping my money. Then something shifts inside me. I'm looking at an email from the venue manager when a wild, almost crazy thought forms. I can't get my money back. I can't get Alina back, and honestly, I'm starting to wonder if I even want her back. But I can refuse to let this all go to waste. $75,000 of food, music, flowers, and celebration. Why should it just disappear? I pick up my phone and call Sandra back. She answers on the first ring, probably expecting me to yell at her. Instead, I say 3 words. The show goes on. There's a long pause. "I'm sorry, what?" I take a deep breath. "The reception, I want to keep everything exactly as planned. The venue, the food, the band, all of it." Sandra sounds confused. But without a wedding, without a bride, I smile for the first time in 2 days. Who says I need a bride to throw a party? I pull out my old Rolodex. Yes, I still use one and start making calls, but I'm not calling friends or family. I'm calling the places in our town that could use some joy. First, I call Riverside Retirement Home. Mrs. Chen answers. I explain the situation, canceled wedding, tons of food and music, and I'd love to invite their residents. She's quiet for a moment, then says, "Arthur, that's the kindest thing I've heard in years. We'll bring 20 people." Next, I call the Veterans Hall. Commander Patterson answers with his gruff voice. I tell him the same story. He laughs, a real, genuine laugh. "Son, you're turning lemons into lemonade. We've got 15 vets who'd love a fancy party. Count us in." Then I call New Beginnings Youth Shelter. The director, Maria, actually cries when I extend the invitation. "Some of these kids have never been to anything like this," she says. "We'll bring 12. By the end of the day, I've invited 60 strangers to my wedding reception. People who have been forgotten, overlooked, or just need a reason to smile. Sandra calls me back, sounding amazed. "Arthur, are you sure about this?" I look around my workshop at all the wedding pieces. "I've never been more sure of anything. Let's give them a night they'll never forget." The next afternoon, Alina shows up at my workshop. I'm sanding a table leg when I hear her car pull up. She walks in wearing expensive sunglasses, her mouth set in a thin line. I don't stop working. "Arthur," she says, "I keep sanding. We need to talk." I finally look up. "Now you want to talk after blocking my calls, after hiding from me." She removes her sunglasses. Her eyes are cold. "I came to make sure you're okay. I heard you're still using the venue." I set down my sandpaper. "That's right. I paid for it. Might as well use it." She steps closer. "Arthur, be honest. Is this some pathetic cry for attention? Are you trying to embarrass me?" My jaw tightens. "This has nothing to do with you, Alina. I invited people who actually appreciate kindness." She laughs, a sharp, bitter sound. "People? You mean strangers. You're throwing a party for random people instead of accepting reality." I stand up, meeting her eyes. "The reality is that you left me 2 days before our wedding. The reality is that you never believed in me or my work. You wanted security. Well, I'm giving security to people who deserve it more than you ever did." Her face flushes red. "Your hobby was never going to provide real security, Arthur. You're 58 years old working with wood. Julian helped me see that I deserve better." There it is, Julian, her precious son who's never held a job longer than 6 months. "Get out," I say quietly. She leaves without another word. The next morning, I do something I've been avoiding. I go to my bank. I need to understand exactly where I stand financially after this disaster. I sit in a small office across from Maya Chen, a sharp young financial advisor who can't be more than 30. She pulls up my accounts on her computer, and I watch her eyebrows rise. "Mr. Holloway, you've been very disciplined with your savings over the years." I nod. "Until I spent it all on a wedding that didn't happen." Maya clicks through screens. "Tell me about your business, your workshop." I explain my craftsmanship, the custom furniture, the restoration projects, the private commissions. She leans forward, interested. "Do you have a client list, references, a portfolio?" I pull out my phone and show her photos of my work. A dining table for a state senator, bookshelves for a university library, a bedroom set for a tech CEO. Maya's eyes light up. "Arthur, you're not just a woodworker. You're an artisan with an elite client base. Have you ever considered scaling up, taking on apprentices, creating a real business structure?" I shake my head. "Alina always said it was just a hobby, that I should have retired by now, that I'd never make real money." Maya looks at me seriously. "Mr. Holloway, with your reputation and skill level, you could easily turn this into a 6-figure annual income, maybe more. You just need a plan." Back home, I'm gathering financial documents for Maya when I find an old ledger book in my desk drawer. I haven't looked at it in months. I flip through the pages and see something that makes my blood run cold. Small entries, dated over the past 2 years. Loan to Alina $3,000 for antique inventory. Loan to Alina $5,000 for shop renovations. Loan to Alina $8,000 for estate sale items. I add up the numbers, $27,000. I loaned Alina $27,000 for her antique business, money she promised to pay back once things picked up. She never paid back a single cent. I remember her explanations. The antique market was slow, she had unexpected expenses, she needed to invest more to make more. I believed her every time. My hands shake as I scan the dates. The loans got bigger and more frequent in the last 6 months, right around the time she started pushing for a bigger, more expensive wedding. "We only get married once," she'd said. "Let's do it right." And stupid me, I agreed. I emptied my savings for a woman who'd been draining me for years. I sit at my kitchen table, staring at the ledger, feeling like the world's biggest fool. How did I not see this? How did I let her manipulate me so completely? I call Maya and ask if she can do some research on Alina's son, Julian. It's probably nothing, but something in my gut tells me to check. Maya calls back 2 days later, her voice tight. "Arthur, you need to come to my office. Now." I drive over immediately. She has documents spread across her desk. Julian Morrison has a history of bad debt. Credit cards, personal loans, even some gambling debts from underground poker games. She slides a timeline across to me. "Look at these dates. In March, Julian borrowed $15,000 from a private lender. In April, another $10,000. In May, Alina came to you asking for $8,000 for her business, right?" I nod, my stomach sinking. Maya continues, "In June, Julian's debts escalated. That's when Alina started pushing for the bigger wedding, the more expensive venue, the 12-piece band instead of a DJ." I stare at the documents. She was going to use our marriage to cover his debts. Maya nods grimly. "Once you were married, your finances would have been legally entangled. She could have accessed your accounts, taken out loans in your name. Arthur, I think you dodged a bullet." I lean back in my chair, processing everything. The woman I loved, the woman I almost married, was planning to financially destroy me to save her worthless son. The betrayal burns worse than the abandonment. Day of the reception arrives. I'm at the venue early, watching the staff set up. The historic mansion looks beautiful, white tablecloths, gold centerpieces, flowers everywhere. The caterers are arranging food stations. The 12-piece band is doing a sound check. It's everything Alina wanted, except she's not here to see it. At 6 o'clock, the guests start arriving. Mrs. Chen brings 20 seniors from Riverside Retirement Home, all dressed in their finest clothes. They gasp when they see the mansion. Commander Patterson arrives with 15 veterans, some in wheelchairs, some walking with canes. They salute me as they enter, and I salute back. Maria brings 12 teenagers from the youth shelter. One girl is wearing a dress that's clearly borrowed, but her smile is absolutely radiant. The band starts playing. People fill plates with shrimp cocktails, prime rib, fancy desserts. Laughter echoes through the ballroom. Then the front doors open. Alina and Julian walk in. They're not dressed for a party. They're holding their phones up, smirking, clearly here to mock me and take photos. But when they see the scene, the seniors dancing, the veterans laughing, the kids eating cake, they freeze. This isn't the pathetic pity party they expected. This is genuine joy. Alina's face goes pale. Julian looks confused. A veteran in a wheelchair rolls past them, winking at me. "Best party I've been to in 20 years, son." Alina and Julian leave within 5 minutes, but not before I see the shock in their eyes. I'm talking to Mrs. Chen about her late husband when I notice a woman with a camera and microphone. She approaches me with a warm smile. "Hi, I'm Jessica Ramirez from Channel 7 News. We're doing a story on New Beginnings Youth Shelter, and Maria mentioned you're the host of this event. Can I ask you a few questions?" I hesitate, then nod. She turns on her camera. "Why did you throw this party?" she asks. I take a deep breath. My wedding was canceled 2 days before the ceremony. Everything was paid for and non-refundable. Instead of letting it go to waste, I invited people who deserved a celebration. Jessica's eyes soften. "That's incredibly generous. What made you think of this?" I look around the ballroom at all the smiling faces. I've spent my whole life building things that last. But I realize that moments matter more than things. These people, these strangers who are now friends, they needed this. And honestly, so did I. Jessica asks me to raise my glass for a toast. I do, and the entire room goes quiet. To second chances, I say, to new beginnings, to finding family in unexpected places. Everyone cheers. The camera captures it all, the tears in the seniors' eyes, the veterans clapping, the kids laughing. Jessica posts a short clip online that night. By morning, it has 5,000 views. By afternoon, 50,000. By the end of the week, the video has been shared across the country. My phone won't stop ringing. The video spreads like wildfire. News outlets pick it up. I get interview requests from podcasts, magazines, local TV shows. But the most amazing thing is what happens to my business. My workshop website, which usually gets maybe 10 visitors a week, crashes from traffic. When my nephew fixes it, I see hundreds of inquiries. People want custom furniture. They want tables, chairs, cabinets, bookshelves, all handmade by that guy from the video. Orders start coming in. A family in Ohio wants a dining set. A couple in California wants bedroom furniture. A restaurant in New York wants custom booths. I'm overwhelmed. I call Maya and she's laughing. Arthur, I told you that you could turn this into a real business. You just got the world's best marketing campaign for free. Within 2 weeks, I have $80,000 in orders. That's more than I made all last year. Alina's words echo in my head. Your hobby will never provide security. I look at the order list and smile. My hobby just became a 6-figure business. I hire my first assistant, Tom, a 23-year-old from New Beginnings who came to the reception. He's eager to learn and has good hands. I show him how to sand, how to measure, how to respect the wood. For the first time in months, I feel hopeful. Alina was wrong about everything. 3 weeks after the reception, I get an email that changes everything. It's from someone named Richard Ashford, Director of Design for Grandeur Hotels. Mr. Holloway, we saw your story and reviewed your portfolio. We're opening a flagship luxury hotel in our city next year. We want you to design and build all the custom furniture and interior woodwork for the lobby, restaurant, and executive suites. This is a $2.3 million contract. Are you interested? I read the email 3 times. $2.3 million for my woodwork. I call Maya immediately. She screams so loud I have to hold the phone away from my ear. Arthur, do you understand what this means? This is generational wealth. This is security for the rest of your life. I meet with Richard Ashford the next day. He's impressed by my craftsmanship, my attention to detail, my story. You represent exactly what our brand values, he says. Resilience, quality, authenticity. We sign a preliminary agreement. I'll receive $500,000 up front to begin design work and material acquisition. The rest will be paid in installments as I complete sections. I walk out of that meeting feeling 10 feet tall. Alina said I'd never have security. She said my work was just a hobby. Now I have the contract of a lifetime, the kind of opportunity most craftsmen only dream about. And she's not here to see it. My phone rings on a Tuesday evening. I don't recognize the number, but I answer anyway. Arthur, it's Alina. Her voice is soft, sweet, familiar. My chest tightens. It's me. I know I have no right to call, but I needed to hear your voice. I say nothing. She continues, I made a terrible mistake. Julian pressured me. He convinced me you weren't enough, but he was wrong. I was wrong. I grip the phone tighter. Why are you calling now, Alina? She sighs dramatically. Because I've been following your story. The reception, the video, the news articles. Arthur, I always knew you were destined for greatness. I got scared of the future. But now I see what you're capable of. I almost laugh. She didn't call after the reception. She didn't call when the video went viral. She called after the business news site published an article about my hotel contract. You heard about the money, I say flatly. There's a pause. I heard you're doing well and I'm happy for you. Really, I just thought maybe we could talk, maybe try again. My heart pounds, but not from love, from anger. You left me 2 days before our wedding, Alina. You humiliated me. You took my money for years and never paid it back. And now you want to try again because I'm successful, she stammers. It's not like that. I hang up. My hands are shaking, but I feel strong. I call Maya and tell her about Alina's call. I need to know everything, I say. I need to understand what I was really getting into. Maya spends a week digging. What she finds is worse than I imagined. She comes to my workshop with a thick folder. Arthur, sit down. She spreads out documents. Julian's gambling debts total $180,000. He owes money to 3 different underground betting rings. Dangerous people. She shows me bank records, Alina's accounts. She's been paying off his debts for 2 years. That's why she needed your loans. That's why she wanted to marry you. She was planning to merge your finances, access your savings, maybe even take out loans against your business. You would have been financially destroyed within a year. I stare at the papers, feeling sick. How did you get all this? Maya smiles grimly. Public records, credit reports, a private investigator, I know, it's all legal. She pulls out another document. Here's the kicker. 2 days before Alina left you, Julian's biggest creditor threatened legal action. Alina panicked. She realized that marrying you might not solve the problem fast enough and the creditor might come after her assets, including your shared assets once you were married. So she ran. She left you to protect herself. I lean back, processing it all. The woman I loved never loved me. I was just a financial solution to her son's massive problem. The story breaks in the local paper a week later. A journalist covering Julian's creditors going public with lawsuits connects the dots to Alina's broken engagement. The headline reads, "Gambling Debts and a Broken Engagement, the real story behind the viral video." The article details Julian's debts, Alina's financial manipulation, and how my canceled wedding turned into a blessing in disguise. It even includes Maya's quote, "Mr. Holloway avoided financial ruin by mere days." The community reacts swiftly. Alina's antique shop suddenly has fewer customers. People leave negative reviews online, not about her products but about her character. "She used a good man," one review says, "took his money and ran." Julian deletes all his social media accounts. I get messages from people thanking me for being an example of dignity. My business explodes even more. People want to support the good guy. I run into Commander Patterson at the hardware store. He shakes my hand hard. "I served 2 tours, son. I know what betrayal looks like. You handled it better than most." Mrs. Chen calls me, crying. "You gave us such a beautiful night and that woman tried to destroy you. Thank God you're safe now." Their support means more than any contract, but there's a part of me that feels hollow. I loved Alina, and she never loved me back. Alina shows up at my workshop on a Friday afternoon. I'm teaching Tom how to join wood corners when I hear her car. She gets out and I can see immediately that something's wrong. Her makeup is smudged. Her hands are shaking. This isn't an act. She's desperate. "Arthur, please, I need to talk to you." I tell Tom to take a break. He leaves and Alina practically collapses into a chair. "It's Julian," she says, her voice breaking. "The people he owes money to, they're threatening him, seriously threatening him. He could get hurt. He could." She starts crying, real tears streaming down her face. "I know I don't deserve to ask, but I need a loan. $60,000. It's life or death, Arthur. Please, I'll pay you back, I swear." I study her face. This is the woman who abandoned me, who stole from me, who called my life's work a hobby. "Why would I help you?" I ask quietly. She grabs my hand. "Because you're a good man, because despite everything I know you have a kind heart, because I'm begging you." I pull my hand away. "You need to leave, Alina." She stands up, desperate. "Arthur, please, this isn't about us anymore. This is about Julian's life." I meet her eyes. "You should have thought about that before you chose his gambling addiction over an honest man. Get out." 3 days after Alina's desperate visit, I do something I've been planning for weeks. I meet with a real estate agent named Patricia. "I'm interested in purchasing a commercial building downtown," I tell her. She pulls up listings. I point to one specific property, the historic building on Oak Street that houses multiple businesses, including Alina's antique shop. "That one," I say. Patricia looks surprised. "That building, it's been on the market for months. The owner wants $850,000. Smile. Make an offer for $800,000 cash. The hotel contract's initial payment is sitting in my business account. I can afford this." Patricia makes the call, and within a week the offer is accepted. I'm now the owner of a 4-story historic building, and Alina's antique shop is on the ground floor. I don't tell her immediately. I wait. I have the building inspected thoroughly. The inspector finds numerous code violations, outdated electrical plumbing issues, structural concerns. Nothing dangerous, but everything requiring expensive repairs. I hire contractors to provide estimates. The total cost to bring the building up to code, $300,000. By law, as the landlord, I'm required to complete these repairs within 90 days. And during those repairs, the ground floor businesses, including Alina's shop, will need to temporarily relocate. I draft a formal notice with my lawyer's help. Then I personally deliver it to Alina's antique shop on a Tuesday morning. She's behind the counter when I walk in. Her face goes white when she sees me. I hand Alina the official notice. She reads it, her hands trembling. "You're evicting me." Her voice is barely a whisper. I shake my head. "I'm not evicting you. I'm notifying you as required by law that this building needs extensive code violation repairs. The work will take approximately 6 months. During that time, ground floor tenants must vacate for safety reasons." Her face crumbles. "Arthur, I can't afford to relocate. I can't afford to move all this inventory and set up somewhere else and then move back. This will destroy my business." I look around at her carefully curated antiques, the furniture, the vintage paintings, the delicate glassware. "You have 90 days to make arrangements," I say calmly. She grabs my arm. "This is revenge. This is punishment. You're destroying me because I left you." I remove her hand gently. "This is business, Alina. The building was for sale. I bought it. The violations exist. I didn't create them, and I'm legally obligated to fix them." Tears stream down her face. "After everything, this is what you do. You ruin me." I meet her eyes. "You ruined yourself, Alina. You stole from me. You manipulated me. You planned to use me to cover your son's gambling debts. I'm not ruining you. I'm just no longer saving you." I turn to leave. She calls after me. "What happened to the good man I knew? The kind man?" I pause at the door. "He learned that kindness doesn't mean being a doormat." Then I walk out, leaving her alone with her consequences. 2 weeks later, I make Alina a final offer. I meet her at a coffee shop downtown, neutral territory. She looks exhausted, like she hasn't slept in days. I slide a document across the table. "I'll buy your entire antique inventory," I tell her. "Fair market value. I've had 3 independent appraisers assess everything. The average of their estimates is $145,000. I'll write you a check today." She stares at the document, shocked. "Why would you do this?" she asks suspiciously. I sip my coffee. "Because I'm not a monster, Alina. I don't want you destitute, but I also won't be your safety net anymore. This is a clean break. You take the money, close your business, and start over somewhere else, somewhere far from my life." She reads the contract carefully, probably looking for traps. There aren't any. It's straightforward. I buy her inventory at fair value. She vacates the premises within 30 days, and we have no further business together. "What about Julian?" she asks quietly. I shrug. "That's not my problem. You enabled his addiction for years. You sacrificed everything, including me, to protect him. Maybe it's time he faces his own consequences." Alina signs the contract with shaking hands. I write her a check for $145,000. She looks at it like it's both a blessing and a curse. "I really did love you," she whispers. I stand up. "No, Alina, you loved what I could provide. There's a difference." I leave her sitting there, holding a check that ends everything between us. A week later, Alina calls and asks to meet one last time. Against my better judgment, I agree. We meet at a park bench near the river. She looks smaller, somehow defeated. "I need to tell you the truth," she says. "All of it." I wait. She takes a shaky breath. "Julian started gambling in college, small bets at first, then poker games, then underground betting rings. By the time he was 30, he owed $50,000. I paid it off, thinking it would stop. It didn't." She wipes her eyes. "Every time I bailed him out, he promised it was the last time. Every time I believed him. I sold my mother's jewelry. I took out loans. I borrowed from friends. And then I met you." She looks at me with hollow eyes. "You were kind, stable, successful. I thought, here's someone who can help us. Here's someone who can be our lifeline. I didn't mean to fall in love, but I did. At least I thought I did. Looking back, I don't know what was real and what was desperation." She continues, "When Julian's debts hit $180,000, I panicked. I thought marrying you would solve everything. Then Julian's creditor threatened to come after me legally. My lawyer said if we were married, they could potentially come after your assets too. I realized I'd be putting you in danger, so I left. It wasn't noble, it was fear. I ran to protect myself, not you. I sit quietly processing. You should have just been honest, I say finally. She nods. I know. But I was too ashamed. The hotel contract moves forward. I'm in my expanded workshop with a team now: Tom, 2 other apprentices from New Beginnings, and a master craftsman I hired named Robert. We're designing the lobby furniture, reception desks, seating areas, coffee tables. Richard Ashford visits regularly, always impressed. You're not just building furniture, he says during one visit. You're creating an experience. We talk about wood selection, finish options, ergonomics. The apprentices are thriving. Tom has a natural talent for detail work. Maria, a 19-year-old from the shelter, is brilliant with finishing and staining. Carlos, 22, is strong and handles the heavy construction pieces. I watch them work and feel proud. This is more than a business now. It's a legacy. It's giving young people a trade, a purpose, a future. We complete the first lobby piece, a massive reception desk made from reclaimed oak. It's 8 feet long, curved with intricate inlay work. Richard sees it and actually gasps. Arthur, this is museum quality. He takes photos, posts them on Grandeur Hotel's social media. The response is overwhelming. Other hotels start reaching out. A resort in Colorado, a boutique hotel chain in Texas. Suddenly, I have a waiting list of clients. Maya updates my business plan. You'll gross over $3 million this year, she says, stunned. I just smile. Eleanor said I'd never make real money. She was wrong about everything. I'm standing in my workshop early on a Saturday morning. Sunlight streams through the windows, illuminating dust motes floating in the air. The space has changed so much: new equipment, more workbenches, organized storage. But in the corner, covered with a tarp, sits the oak arbor from my canceled wedding. I haven't touched it in months. I've been afraid to look at it, afraid of the emotions it might bring up. Today I pull off the tarp. The arbor is still beautiful: smooth curves, perfect joints, rich wood grain. I built this for a ceremony that never happened, for a marriage that was a lie. But looking at it now, I don't feel sadness. I feel possibility. I call Robert over. I want to repurpose this, I tell him. Turn it into something new, something that represents transformation. We sketch ideas together. Finally, we land on it. A large sculptural piece, abstract but recognizable, showing wood bending and reforming into new shapes. We spend 3 weeks redesigning the arbor. We cut, reshape, rejoin. We add new wood pieces, creating contrast between old and new. The final sculpture is 6 feet tall, flowing and dynamic. It looks like wood in motion, like growth and change captured in timber. Richard sees it and immediately wants it for the hotel lobby. This is the centerpiece, he says. This is the story we want to tell: transformation, resilience, new beginnings. We install it with a small brass plaque I designed. It reads, "Resilience, a second chance is the most beautiful design of all." The hotel's grand opening arrives on a crisp October evening. The lobby is stunning, my furniture throughout, warm lighting, the sculpture as the centerpiece. Guests walk in and stop, admiring the craftsmanship. I'm wearing a suit, standing near the sculpture, watching people react. Richard gives a speech, thanking the team, the designers, the craftsmen. He specifically mentions me, and the crowd applauds. Arthur Holloway didn't just build furniture for us, Richard says. He built a story of resilience into every piece. After the ceremony, people approach me. Business cards, compliments, commission inquiries. A woman from an architecture firm wants me to collaborate on a restaurant project. A hotel executive from Seattle wants to fly me out to discuss a renovation. I'm overwhelmed but exhilarated. Tom, Maria, and Carlos stand with me, proud of what we've created together. Mrs. Chen is there too, with friends from the retirement home. Commander Patterson salutes me again. "You did good, son." I stand in front of the sculpture, the piece made from my wedding arbor, and think about how far I've come. A year ago, I was broken, abandoned, financially drained. Today, I'm thriving. I built a business, a team, a legacy. I didn't do it with anger or revenge. I did it with integrity, hard work, and the decision to turn pain into purpose. Elena was wrong. Julian was wrong. I was enough all along. I just needed to believe it. It's a Sunday morning and I'm sitting on the porch of my house, paid off now, no more mortgage. The sun is rising, birds are singing, and I'm drinking coffee from a mug Maria made in a pottery class I funded. My phone buzzes occasionally with work emails, but I'm not checking it. Not yet. For this moment, I'm just being present. I think about the past year, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the unexpected triumph. I don't hate Elena anymore. I don't think about her much at all, honestly. She's living somewhere across the state, I heard. Julian apparently went to rehab, finally facing his demons. I hope they find peace. But they're not my responsibility, not my story anymore. My story is here in this workshop with these young people I'm mentoring, with this business I built from ashes. Yesterday, I got a letter from a young woman who saw my viral video 2 years ago. She wrote that my story inspired her to leave an abusive relationship and start her own bakery. She's thriving now. "You showed me that endings can be beginnings," she wrote. I cried reading that letter. That's the real victory, not the money, not the contracts, but the impact. The reminder that choosing dignity over bitterness creates ripples you can't even see. Tom pulls up in his truck. He bought it with his first real paycheck. We're working on a custom bookshelf today for a library donation. Maria and Carlos will join us later. We'll work with our hands, creating something beautiful and lasting. That's what I do. That's who I am. Not someone's safety net. Not someone's backup plan. Just Arthur Holloway, craftsman, mentor, builder of things that endure. I finish my coffee and stand up, ready for the day. The workshop door opens easily. I fixed the hinge last week. Inside, everything is organized, clean, purposeful. Sunlight pours through the skylights I installed. This is my kingdom, built not on revenge or anger, but on skill, integrity, and the stubborn refusal to let anyone else define my worth. Elena once said I could never offer her the life she wanted. She was right. I couldn't offer her that life, the one built on lies, desperation, and borrowed security. But I could offer myself something better. A life built on honest work, genuine relationships, and the peace that comes from knowing exactly who you are. And that life, it's more valuable than any wedding, any relationship, any validation from someone who never truly saw me. I pick up my tools and get to work, smiling.